Welcome to the AI Apprentice Program, and in this video I'm going to take you through what's included, what's not included, who it's for, who it's not for, so that by the end of this video you'll have a clear idea, is this an investment that you want to make, or is this something that you shouldn't do? Because if it's not a fit for you, we don't want you here. No offense, because we invest heavily in our students. We do everything we can to make sure that they succeed. I'm Dennis Yu. I'm one of the coaches here in High Rise Academy, and we've coached hundreds of young adults through success because we focus on local service businesses. I remember starting 20 years ago, we did this for Quiznos, and then we had clients like Adidas and Nike and smoothie shops and dentists and personal injury attorneys and home service businesses like landscapers and roofers and HVAC companies. And what we discovered with local is that showing up in Google was really the same set of things to be able to process content like reviews and things from Company Cam or off of your phone, and then putting that across your website, your social media, turning those into ads, putting them on your Google business profile, all the kinds of things that would happen in local. And while a lot of local companies, they would hire an agency, they didn't know any better, they didn't want to do it themselves, most of these local companies would say, I've been burned by the last 3 agencies. I'm just a plumber. I don't really know. And so we've trained these young adults to not only serve their parents' business, but often to start a business. So look at Ethan Murphy, where he started doing this for his dad because his dad was frustrated by the agencies that he'd been paying, and did such a good job that now there's 6 other landscapers and Christmas lights companies that are now part of Ethan's agency. And so this is mainly for young adults. Young adult means young in mind, able to learn, who are usually doing this on behalf of their parents that are making this investment. Some young adults, they put in their own tuition, which is great too. It's whichever works for you as long as you understand what we provide. As a young adult, that young adult is an AI apprentice. Imagine them successfully running an agency with one client, you, the parent. And we're measuring phone calls. We're doing Google ads, Facebook ads. We're optimizing the website. We're doing all kinds of things that are necessary, often using these AI tools, which is why we call it the AI Apprentice Program. We meet every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific live. And it'll be a few of us coaches, depending on whatever the issue is that we want to be able to teach. And we usually teach some kind of new topic that we want to demonstrate, something that we have found across our group in the last week. Maybe a team member is going to share, maybe one of the young apprentices will share a technique for everyone to be able to learn collaboratively in this group coaching format. And then, based on the weekly reports that everyone submits, we can look at performance and see why are calls down, why is cost per click up, what is working about this video versus that, what is a competitor trying to do to push you down in Google results. And so in this open office hours every week, people can bring forward issues, provided that they have at least tried to solve the thing first. This is not just, dump this on Dennis and Jack and Dylan and the other folks to be able to solve, but as part of a group coaching program, people are implementing according to the checklists and SOPs that we have. And if they get stuck along the way, we are here to help. We have a Facebook group as well, so that's 24/7. We have people all over, so there's probably someone awake at any point in time, might even be me. But this is for US-based young adults that are operating marketing for local service businesses. And as a result, the only way we believe to really learn as an apprentice is you have a real project. So this is not a classroom thing to try to get a degree. The way you graduate out of the program is you demonstrate that in the weekly reports, everyone has to deliver a weekly report, even if it just takes 3 minutes, you're on vacation, classes, whatever's going on, still in school, that's fine. But in the weekly report, we want to be able to demonstrate that we follow the 4-stage content factory process to drive provable incremental phone calls at an acceptable cost per lead. We know what the cost per lead is for plumbing, roofing, landscaping, dental, and we have enough examples in each of these categories that when your young adult is able to demonstrate through iterating and testing and experimenting and tuning, it might take them 6 weeks. Might take them 20 weeks, but that's how people qualify. That's how they determine that they're graduating in the program. It's not because a year has gone by and they automatically get a certificate like they graduated high school. But think of it as like an apprentice who's a plumber or an apprentice who is a dental assistant. It's not based on a certain amount of time. It's being able to do the surgery, being able to fly the airplane, being able to pass the bar, right? They have to demonstrate they can do the work and demonstrate it on a live client. Now, if they come in and they don't have a client, which usually is when they're coming in themselves and paying the tuition as opposed to doing it for their parents' business, then we will give them a client because this is not theoretical. Everything here is hands-on. This is not memorize things for an exam. That's what you do in school, right? To get some kind of degree or diploma, which is fine. We have a lot of students that are still in college. That's fine. But our thing is a hands-on apprenticeship, just like in the trades, hands-on experience, just like cooking. We want to see, not you can talk about food, we want to see that you can actually cook. And all of us are chefs, not salespeople. We are here to actually demonstrate. We use the tools. And increasingly, every one of these things, whether it's the website or Facebook ads or call center stuff or quoting tools or graphics design, all of that requires AI. There's AI in everything, so you might as well just call it the Digital Marketing Apprentice Program. But it's AI because we're learning the AI component to be able to operate so that your son or daughter is able to be a manager across these different AI agents to then be able to do the work. So that's why we say it's kind of like an agency format across client projects, but they are the agency lead, they are the manager. They're communicating with you, with other team members, with their agents. We've given them names. Could be Stephanie or Jennifer, who edits articles, or Christopher, who grades local. We create a lot of these agents, and we give them on behalf to all of our people in this ChatGPT business account. So as part of it, you get a license which costs us money, not just the monthly license, but we're building tools actively for all of us to be able to use. I probably spend $15,000, $20,000 a month just on paying for tools, credit usage. The more credits you use, the more I have to pay, but that's okay because we see work's getting done and we see this is worthwhile. We see that AI is all about agents, which is not talking to ChatGPT, but actually telling these individual agents, do this, and you're managing a team. And so you're paying them, I'm paying them in terms of credits to be able to do that. There's accountability. That's probably the number one thing that we hear because there's so much that you could learn, so many things that people are saying about AI and it's changing and where do I start? And so we create this accountability. If you want to do stuff for free, the internet is full of stuff. I've got hundreds of YouTube videos that are out there, all free, right? But if you want accountability, if you want other people as part of a coaching program to keep you accountable, to make sure to kind of look over your shoulder, to analyze your results, then this is something, if you feel that's valuable, this is something you should look at. If you just want information, this is not a program for you. Information is out there for free. You're gonna have to figure out what is real and what isn't, what's changed, what's not. In our group, we're always teaching from live example. So that way, everything is up to date. We have 140 courses. We're always keeping these as up to date as we can. And if there's something we don't have, we will do our best to try to fill that because we understand things are changing and people are saying, okay, maybe it's not going to be ChatGPT, maybe it's going to be Gemini because that's Google and Google is playing the wait and see approach. Maybe, I don't know, whatever the best thing is, that's what we're using. That's what we're buying on behalf of all of our people. So this is not courses, but we have courses. This is not just group coaching, but we have these live weekly calls. It's not just access to the tools that we have, but it's a combination of all those to be able to drive the result. Because the key is we want to see the result. We want to see the phone calls that are measured in the call rail and the service titan in wherever it is, because without the accountability, you could have a chef with all the best ingredients, all the best knives, all the best recipes, but if you don't cook the food, if you burn the steak, then what's the point of that? So that ultimately it's all about the result. All of these things here are to drive the result. And as your son or daughter drives that result, we expect them to mentor other people and they will build relationships, as we already see happening inside our group. I think there's like 400 some people right now, 435, something like that inside our group. And people start to build connections and friendships. They may want to come to me or other folks, which is fine, but we encourage us to learn together as a group, as part of group coaching, because any question or issue someone has is likely something that someone else has, is likely something that has already been solved. Just like, how do you onboard a client? How do you get access to Google Analytics? How do you use Ahrefs to pull keyword level data? Like, this is, everything has been done before, but if you're new, you're going to want to go through the onboarding and learn how to do that in the guides that we have and the training that we have, so that if you get stuck along the way, you know that you have us here, you know that you can always ask questions in the weekly calls and build connections with other people in the group as well. And as you start to deliver results, maybe you start to learn how to use AI videos for Facebook ads. Then as other new people start coming into the group, then you can give them a little help, just like other people are giving you help. So this is not one-on-one coaching with me or one-on-one with Jack. I mean, certainly if no one else can figure it out, I'm always there to take a look at this. But we have a higher tier program if you want one-on-one access to me, which is more limited. I don't have unlimited time. I do the very best I can. But this AI Apprentice Program is our core offering because it allows us to help the most people, and it also embodies the spirit of paying it forward and helping. The whole point of an apprentice program is, as you start to advance and become a master, you're going to help bring the next generation along. And this is my life's legacy, to be able to do something like this. I've been doing this for many years, but this has become more systematized and formalized because that's just the only way to do this and make sure that we can bring in the right people and make sure that they are able to succeed. Because we don't want just anyone in here. That would be a disaster. We're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we're creating these kinds of opportunities. And as you start to learn, as you start to improve, then you can speak. You can teach webinars. You can teach a section inside our group coaching. If you reach a certain point, and you can see these by going to Facebook and YouTube and whatnot, you might even come out and speak at conferences. I'll invite you to certain events like DigimarCon or private seminars that we have. And you see a lot of us, we get together, which is really cool. I know a lot of this is online, but I'm an old-fashioned person, and I like to get together, meet people, actually see them. You know, with AI, it's harder and harder to tell who's real or not. So there's opportunities to be able to meet other folks. Like just 2 weeks ago, we had to get together here in Vegas, and everyone came together. We spent a few days masterminding, had a great time, did hiking, meals. I arranged some entertainment. So really a lot of fun, and just nice to be able to meet other folks. So there is a masterminding component to that. Some people want to go to masterminds just for the masterminds, but they don't have the structure and the accountability that is in between the quarterly or annual mastermind or that kind of thing. So if this is the kind of program that you are interested in, then consider the price. We're always open about this. This is not a need to talk to a salesperson. There's no discount on this because or payment plans or anything like that. But because Black Friday, and we've recently revamped a lot of our stuff to incorporate some of the AI tools, we do have a Black Friday offer. So you can check out what that price is. It is a lot less than this price, and this price has been going up every month for the last few months. So this is not a false scarcity, oh, buy now, whether the price is going to go up. I think this price is going to go up because we can only provide so much help to so many people. And as the program gets better, we should charge more. So we're still building out a lot of these components, and we want to bring people in who really believe in paying it forward. So let's talk about who this is not for. There are people who need babysitting, and those people who constantly get stuck all the time, or they're afraid of technology, or they need permission in advance. This is not for you. So we provide accountability, but that's not the same as babysitting. That's not the same as like, can you explain to me what CTR is? And can we have a weekly one-on-one private call where you can just sit there and watch me do stuff and give me feedback? Like that's not what this is. So you need to be self-motivated. You need to have discipline. And let's say you're the young adult that's watching this, then we're counting on you as an adult to be able to take action, to do the assignments on time, to show up weekly. If you can't show up, we have recordings, that's fine. I mean, you don't have to be there every single week, but try to attend as much as you can. Definitely submit your status report every Friday, what we call the MAA, Metrics Analysis Action Report. If you are on holiday or in your place with no Wi-Fi, submit it on Thursday, right? So people who know how to solve problems like that in advance, like knowing like, oh, I'm not gonna be available on Friday, I should probably send my report on Thursday. Or I have this issue that I'm anticipating, I should probably speak up about it now to get help before waiting till the deadline, and now it's an emergency because I waited to the last minute. Like that's not the kind of thing that we want. So if you understand that you are self-sufficient, but we are here to help as part of coaching and mentoring, which is not babysitting, if you understand that these tools change all the time, and sometimes we'll demonstrate how to do a particular thing, but then a few days later, the interface changes and then the button where we were clicking before has shifted somewhere else. Like if you're okay with that, because that's how it is. That's why we say young adults. There's some people where they just, the slightest thing they get confused and now they're off the rails and they need one-on-one help. That's not what this is, right? This is not tech support. This is for people who can figure out basic things and we'll help you along the way. And then the camaraderie of the group is already filtering for that, because these other young men and women, they're holding each other accountable. There's kind of like an A player esprit de corps, which I really like seeing, because we want people who believe in excellence and who work hard, who are not excuse makers. If you're an excuse maker, this is not for you. If you're the kind of person, you are ingenious and resourceful, you figure stuff out, you have a positive attitude, you're humble, you're teachable, then I think you're really going to like this. And you could see on this page or other pages examples of all the other people that have come through this program, that are teaching in this program, the different pathways they've taken, whether they start an agency or they eventually start a software company, or they use this to take over their parents' business, or they do other things in business because they realized these fundamentals of marketing, of how to use AI tools, of being able to communicate, of speaking on stage, not required, but we think that that's something that you should be able to do, then there's a lot of different pathways that you can take. But if you're not initially coming in on a local service business, mainly a Google local service ads category, this is probably not for you. If you're doing an e-com startup, if you're outside of the United States, if you are doing something that is in a shady area, we don't touch, gambling or things that are kind of questionable. We don't, medical marijuana, like I know that's legal, but we don't touch that. These are local service businesses. That's the core. Everyone's collaborating on the techniques that help local service businesses, not startups, not people who are trying to become the next Elon Musk, even though you might have a great idea. We're not here to invent new things. We're here to share, to gather techniques that work for local service businesses, because that means ranking on the maps, making the phone ring, making sure when someone asks ChatGPT, hey, who's the best dentist in Atlanta for cosmetic surgery? Oh, it's Dr. Hugh Flax. Who's the best landscaper in Bloomington to cut down a tree? It's Anthony Hill of Anthony's Lawn Care, right? That's what we're going to. Ranking in Google, recommending in ChatGPT. There's a common framework, which is what we teach. Also, we want people who are not afraid of giving back. So if you're doing this just for you and it's just what you can get, and you do not have a pay it forward attitude where you believe in mentorship and apprenticeship, because as you're getting help, then I want to help other people do the same thing. I have a mindset of abundance where I know that there's enough for other people other than me. I'm not the kind of person where, ding, the airplane lands and I immediately stand up and clog the aisle. I'm not that kind of person, right? You're here because you're not a jerk, right? You want to help other people. You're not a complainer, a Karen who's gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want you if you're one of those, right? Like if you're gonna call the manager every time, if you have a history of always asking for refunds or complaining, like, don't join our program, right? So we want nice people in our program. I think you know what I mean by nice people. And Two more things. To be able to win in digital marketing, you've got to be able to make video. It doesn't mean you have to be a perfect spokesperson, Gary Vaynerchuk, live streaming all the time, constantly, being an extrovert, but you have to be able to provide instructions clearly on video. You have to be able to coach other people on video, because when you're working with local service businesses, contractors especially, you've got to be able to coax them through making video. And if you yourself don't know how to make video, then you won't understand how to coach someone through video. And as you're teaching agents and managing agents, human and non-human, to do the work, your ability to communicate clearly, impromptu, is so key. Not your written skills, not your copywriting, not your technical skills, which barely even matter, even though I was a programmer way back in the day. I also competed in math way back in the day, but it doesn't really matter anymore, right? So you've got to be able to communicate and structure and manage, and you'll gain management skills as part of this. How to work in a team, how to organize projects, how to negotiate deals, how to troubleshoot. That's all part of the structure that we teach, but it's all hands-on. And the last thing is, probably the most important one, is if you're not all in, then this is not for you. There are some people who will say, well, what if I try it out for a week or two? And I'll say, well, if you want to get six-pack abs, well, are you going to work out once or twice and then hope maybe you'll lose some weight? So the people that win, it's really this simple. I've seen a lot of people over the years, and the people that win are those who simply have a commitment. Like, do you put in the time? None of the stuff here is really that hard. And things change. It's lots and lots of little tasks. If you are the kind of person where you can follow the checklist, you can see it through, in spite of excuses, in spite of all the things that happen along the way, then you'll win in our program. If you're the kind of person where everything's got to be done for you and solved for you and handheld, this is not for you, do not sign up, right? But look at the other people that have signed up and see, what is it about them? Do you feel that you're the kind of person where you can put in the effort? Now, the program is technically for a year. That gives you plenty of runway. Like a Boeing 727 probably only needs 2,000 feet of runway to take off. But a lot of airports are 7,000 feet, plenty of room to be able to take off in case you get sick, in case you have to go to school, in case you don't have enough time. Some people are like, well, how much time do I need to have? Well, I'd say at least an hour a day. If you can't put in at least an hour a day, so let's just call that 5 hours a week, then you're not going to be able to keep up. Because you need to learn what's going on. You need to be able to put in the time on top of that. So if you need 2 or 3 hours just to keep up with the industry and a few hours just to implement and participate so you can put it in action, you're already looking at 5+ hours to make sure that you can get stuff done. And we have a project management system. You can post things there. We're reviewing stuff. We have the Facebook group. We have our Zoom call every week. We get together. There's our ChatGPT account with different projects that are in it. There's a lot of these components to help you if you're committed and you're the kind of person who sees things through. If that's you, then hey, I'm excited to welcome you to the program. I can't wait to see what you can do. I can't wait to see you win. I can't wait to see you unlock the potential that you can do in local services, especially using these AI tools. And I look forward to seeing you. Let me know. What do you think?